All right, 2020 is a big year at the Tampa Museum of Art as they kick off their 100th year centennial celebration. And here with the details and a look at the current exhibit is Penny and Jeff Finnick, Executive Director Michael Tomar. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And to you.
Congrats again.
Thank you.
100 years.
100
this is
years.
pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it's pretty special that we trace our roots back to November of 1920, showing works at the Municipal Art Museum, the municipal offices in the Red Cross Room, where we're showing art. And 100 years later, we are still providing those types of art education services to the community.
So I'd imagine it's got to be pretty, you go, okay, we're celebrating 100 years.
Right.
How on earth do we do that? Where do we start? And you actually, before we get to some, we're going to show some of the artwork that people can see in the current exhibit. You do have a book that's getting ready to come out.
Well, that's the best way to tell a story, right? Write a book. So for the past 3 years, we've been doing research on the history of the museum.
Oh, sorry, they're showing actually the artwork.
The artwork. Well, it's good. Some of the artwork is in the book. We're publishing 100 of the most significant works in our permanent collection that really explain how the collection grew. So Rockwell Kent, the first image was of J. Paul Genuine sculpture. Here's Bernice Abbott's photography. We have a great collection of photography and works on paper. And the story really begins with our Greek and Roman collection, how we began collecting in the 1980s. When we actually became the Tampa Museum, but again, our roots go all the way back to the Tampa Museum of Fine Arts, back to 1920. Then we became the Tampa Art Institute, which we remained through the mid-1960s. We became the Tampa Bay Arts Center on the campus of the University of Tampa, and then became the Tampa Museum in 1979. Volunteers, board membership, all overlapping over those 100 years.
I'm glad you bring that up. You said you have some volunteers there that have worked with the museum now for how long?
Well, some for over 60 years. So some of our volunteers that are still in our community, still providing great research information and stories about the museum, really got started at the Tampa Art Institute in the 1950s and 1960s. Hard to believe, still dedicated to the museum, and we're going to be celebrating some of them in our upcoming book launch on January 11th and opening celebration of the exhibition.
So that really kind of kicks off. January 11th is the big day for you because that will kick off the rest of the year.
That's right, a whole year worth of programming from our permanent collection, celebrations of the 100th anniversary. It's really exciting opportunity, right? And really the community drove this initiative and kept us alive for all these years. So it's really a celebration of Tampa.
Well, and when you talk about community, why do you think a city needs an art, museum like this? And I mean, what does it do for a community and for its people to have something like this, especially now for 100 years?
Well, people will say, and I'm a little bit biased, but art really feeds the soul. And without that, then we are less creative. And so people look to the arts for a better quality of life. And I think that they've kept this alive and kept it driven for so many years because it's an important part of a community's culture.
It goes back to the beginning of time. I mean, cavemen, right?
Yeah, exactly. And people have been expressing themselves non-verbally for hundreds of thousands of years. And
congratulations again. Let's make sure everybody, the book comes out when?
The book comes out, and we're launching it on January 11th. You can get it at our store.
Okay.
That's right. And we start celebrating now.
All right. Well, again, this exhibit, though, that takes a look back, I think it's these 100 years is going on now through March 15th. There are the details. But again, this is just the beginning of this 100th year for you guys. Come back so we can talk about the future exhibits as well on the way.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right.